Okay, we are now officially live.
And if you're wondering why there's the absence of the sarcastic yay, that's because Lucas is not joining us today. Um, but yeah, welcome to Technically Wrong, episode 10.
Woo, 10 episodes in.
Yeah, and everything's fallen apart. No, but we've got some. It'll be a shorter episode, I reckon, today. It might not be, but who knows? But we're mostly just going to talk about, I think, 480 and 1060 related things. So I'm just going to go on a long-winded rant about the 1060 because it made me smile. Um, the thing I like the most about the 1060 being revealed and all of the like leaked benchmarks and stuff, honestly, I feel like they may have just kind of. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they pretty much have rushed it out to compete with the 480. I'm pretty sure AMD thought that they would have a market share where their graphics card was king for a lot longer. And when the 1060 was rumored to be, revealed to come out on the 7th of July, it was really confusing, especially just after the launch of the RX 480. We had no news of it whatsoever, and then boom, it's a week from now. You know, crazy, right? But they're not available in stores or anything. They're getting handed out to reviewers, and it seems like they may be working on the drivers because honestly, the leaked benchmarks, which are usually kind of outrageous, let's face it, the RX 480s were, but even the leaked benchmarks of the 1060 put it about 6% slower than a 980, whereas the claim for the 1060 is faster than. Now, this may be at stock speeds, and it may only be boost clocking up to about 1700 megahertz, if not just at fully stock speeds, but they claim it can go up to about 2000, and that would possibly yield around 980 performance. Besides, their claim may be based on kind of like an RX 480 faster than two 1080s in this specific game and nothing else, which is unfortunate. But at least it still is faster than the two 1080s in that game. Whereas commonly, like it'll be press release, oh it's faster than this, and then the enemies update their drivers and it's nowhere near as fast as that. But so it's only about it's only about 8% faster than a 480. And for the pricing of the Founders Edition, it's $299. That's $299, which I think is a bit peculiar, especially since they claim that their board partners are going to be 250. However, from what we've seen by availability and also just pricing in general of board partners for the 1080 and 1070, the only cards that are even getting close to hitting those price points are crappier coolers than the founders, and kind of better coolers are in the price range of the founders edition. So take a 1070, it's about 400 pounds, I believe, and you can get the founders edition for around that, and you can get something like a Strix cooler or an MSI or something for about 400. But the only real cards you can find underneath the founders edition are plasticky reference, basically cheaper quality and just graphics cards in general, like they would be, than the reference cooler anyway. So maybe you'll start finding things like that. We haven't really seen thermals for the 1060, so maybe you can get by with just a plasticky kind of crappy cooler. But yeah, so it's got a 6 pin and it's TDP of about I think 120 watts, which is very good. That's kind of Pascal in general. But what really made me smile was the fact that it is so far in the leaked benchmarks only about 8% faster, 6% faster, slower than the 980. And with the custom coolers for the 480 coming out, and from the rumors that we've been seeing, now I wouldn't go as far to say that it's gonna be confirm the rumors that pre-launch of getting up to R9 Nano. I'd say it's gonna be about as fast as a 1080. We're gonna have some serious competition because especially with there's a Sapphire card on pre-order at Overclockers right now, £250, free shipping, Beautiful card. I mean, really, really, really nice card. I've been considering pre-ordering one, but I'm gonna wait until I see all of the other ones first. But it has an 8-pin, and that bumps the TDP of the graphics card up to 175. Now, of course, with an 8-pin, you can get well over that, but that's kind of the recommended, that's kind of what they're aiming for. That leads me to believe that it's going to be clocked a hell of a lot higher. That leads me to believe that you're going to be able to overclock it a hell of a lot higher. And also, by my estimates, when the 480 came out, I figured, especially since what a lot of people were talking about with the power issues, they were saying that the GPU throttles itself rather than its megahertz, and therefore you're only getting about 80-90% of the GPU's total power, total kind of rendering capabilities being performed, even at overclock speeds. The actual GPU itself isn't performing 100%. So if the TDP is bumped up and you can go in and you can adjust all the power requirements with an 8-pin, so the PCIe lane will be completely just a non-issue at this point, as well as there's a driver update, but I'll get into that later. I reckon you could possibly get up to like 1,600, let's be conservative, to maybe 1,700. I think, yeah, 1,600 I reckon will be the very, very top end. If you get like a insanely good chip, maybe. But I think conservatively on average around 1,500 megahertz, considering, the kind of project with the cooler in general and the 8-pin, I think we'll be seeing 1,500, and that's a considerable overclock. And 100% of the GPU with a considerable overclock over the reference cooler with better cooling, quieter, better just cards for a very cheap price, only about, 10, 20 pounds more than the reference. That's insane. And that puts it in line to compete directly to the 1060. However, another thing that made me smile about the 1060 is we got confirmed that the 6 GB model, now people were saying maybe the 3 GB model doesn't have an SLI. That's a bit weird. I don't know why they would do that. But even the 6 GB model doesn't have an SLI bridge. Now, that is a niche market, people who buy two graphics cards instead of one more powerful one, but I would be more on board for buying a cheaper graphics card now and knowing that I can upgrade to 2 if necessary. If I have the money in the future to upgrade to just a better GPU, maybe one that would perform as well as 2 of those in the next generation, say, because that's kind of the trend, then I would. But I would like to have the option with my current cheaper graphics card just to stick another one in when they go on sale. Get an RX 480 next year when the new generation comes out, when Vega 10's big, whatever, for like, 170, something like that on a nice sale. Like, that's exceedingly cheap graphics card and performance upwards of 1070 to nearly 1080 standard. That's fantastic. That's a good upgrade path. But with the 1060, so far it may be slightly faster than the 480, but you don't have that option anymore. And there's been a problem with DirectX 12 for a while now where multi-GPU support isn't necessarily 100% there. But really and truly, 99.9% of the games you're going to be playing out of, the entire the PC catalog, like I really don't play like super high-end games. And frankly, if you're buying a 480, I don't know if you're buying the next AAA game every single time it comes out. Probably just buying them on sale, and by that time the drivers will be sorted out. So for a 480 and for the lower end GPUs, I don't really understand like why that's an issue and why Nvidia would say, "Oh, DirectX 12 doesn't necessarily have SLI support, so let's not put it there." When putting it there would probably not cost them anything and make more money because then people would hopefully buy more 1060s. I understand why they've done it though. It's because two 1060s probably be as powerful as a 1080, and so you could buy a 1060 now and then another one later, and you wouldn't sell any 1080s because they're exceedingly expensive. But then again, you could buy two 480s instead. So I think Nvidia have shot themselves in the foot a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I want to reserve judgment. I mean, that's where I kind of am with this whole situation. I want to kind of reserve judgment because we don't really know fully how the 1060 is going to be. We don't really fully know how the RX 48 is going to be once everything is kind of said and done, the dust is settled, board partners are all out and everything. We don't really know exactly where the dust is going to lie, and so I want to reserve judgment. Like, I want to see the board partners cards. I want to see what those cards do, and we'll see.
Yeah. Well, on the subject of the drivers, I believe it's 1.16.7.1. I think is the driver, but the new AMD driver essentially fixes the PCIe problem by putting on a compatibility mode, and in almost all games is a performance hit of maybe 2 FPS. And yeah, that's 2 FPS, and really, by the standards of the graphics card industry, hell, the 1060 may perform 2 FPS faster, so that could be a considerable performance hit if you care about 2 FPS, but it's still consistently hitting frame rates, and it fixes the compatibility issues and just helps out the user base of 480s, so that's nice. And also, supposedly ups the performance overall of about 3%. Now, usually drivers claim overall performance of about 3% more. I seem to see, well, you get 3% performance in this game and none in this game. And that's just the way drivers work, because, you have to properly optimize each and every game. So, yeah. But it's still a 3%, you know, increase in performance and then 2 lost frames, but that kind of balances out. And you know, with the claims of 15% greater performance than a 480 with the 1060, I don't know. I think I think the Founders Edition is a really dumb graphics card to buy. I I don't know, maybe because first of all it's limited, so you can only buy it through Nvidia. So there's not going to be any sales necessarily on people on different stores selling it. You can only buy it through Nvidia. It's limited, and that also sort of leads me to believe they might have trouble with availability. And if they do, then it's possible we'll see price hikes again, like we did with the 1070 and 1080. I think, really and truly, even from the get-go, even when we get benchmarks from both, we'll really have to see what the market is in a couple of months when everything's kind of settled.
Yeah, as I was saying, like I really want to wait to see where everything kind of settles, because I mean this is an interesting time because it's been a really long time since GPUs have been this competitive.
And this fast, because what we talked about earlier was, usually in the generational increments, it goes like the fastest graphics card will be the second fastest of the next generation, but we're pretty much seeing the fastest graphics card be the third fastest graphics card in this generation, which is a big leap.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's impressive. Like you people spending like what $300 or so dollars on like a 980 only for the next generation card to come along for it to be half of that. We're talking what, 12 months, 6 months?
Yeah. Now, the CUDA core count of the 1060, and the reason why I reckon it will be overall slightly slower than a 980, no matter what you do, really. I mean, I reckon it will probably be on par, especially with the overclocking and the, generational improvements. But from what we've seen with the 1080's performance, it's slightly slower when SLI works, so that's not all the time. But if you were just raw power, like, you know, two 980s, they would be faster than a 1080 essentially, but SLI is not great. So usually the 1080s are slightly faster. It's about 50-50, right? But in like 50% of the cases, it's slightly slower, and that's usually a properly overclocked 1080 anyway. And a 1060 has exactly half the amount of CUDA cores. So that kind of leads me to believe it will be, you know, it will be basically as fast as a 980. I don't think it will be considerably faster. I think in some games it will edge it out slightly. In a lot of games it won't. But that's still faster than a reference 480 at least. So you do have a solid argument there, you know. But again, especially with a lot of the rumors, I think I definitely don't think that we'll see R9 Nano performance from the 480. I just no, because we got all that before the reference anyway. And yeah, you could overclock the crap out of it and the power requirements and all that stuff, but I think we'll see probably around 1060 levels. Frankly, I reckon we really, really do have some serious competition in the market, because AMD have been lagging, you know, with the 7970 and the 680, they were neck and neck, pretty much FPS to FPS. Then the Gigahertz edition came out, and AMD were on top for a while, and then Nvidia released, you know, the 700 series, and then Hawaii came out, and it was considerably slower, unfortunately. And so AMD just dropped, and then their CPUs were out for years, and no one was buying them, and they didn't refresh them for a while, and so they've been falling down. But now we really seriously are starting to see some proper competition, and with the Zen rumors, I'm confident to say AMD are back on the map, and I'm really happy about that.
They might be back on the map, but they're far from out of the water. They've got a long way to go, but you know, it's exciting nonetheless.
Oh yeah, they've got a steep hill ahead of them, but they made it over the last one. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait. I believe it's the 19th that the 1060 is at retail. So we'll probably see, you know, reviews coming out. The reviews are coming out on the 19th, which is interesting, because they, you know, released it basically 2 weeks, revealed it 2 weeks prior to release, and I guess that might be just to get it so they have stock, to get availability so they can actually sell the graphics card, and the price hiking won't be too bad. And also to get the graphics card tested properly, because the RX 480 did have a bit of trouble towards the end. Like, reviewers weren't getting their graphics card until 3 days before NDA, and so far, like, you know, with the PCI problem and all that stuff, and the drivers now seem to have balanced out. So they did have a little bit of a rocky start with the 480, but it did sell. It really did sell, and I'm 100% buying a non-reference one. I can't wait until I see more pre-orders open up, because I just want to look at the graphics cards. That Sapphire one is beautiful. Gorgeous design. Black and white backplate, nice thick backplate, beautiful cooler. It didn't specify passive. It didn't specify that it had passive fans. And that's interesting. But, you know, oh well. It has an RGB logo and everything, and with Sapphire of recent, they've been putting their 8-pin on like the kind of front end, if you're looking at it that way, instead of on the side, you know, on the side that you see. And I guess that's, you know, so you don't have the cable at the front, but for compatibility's sake, in a lot of cases, especially when like the Nano came out and it was there, and people were like, well, if you made it so short and then you put it there, like, that's a big power cable coming out of the card. Like, why would you do that? And Sapphire seem to like doing that for whatever reason. But yeah, they've done that with that card. But seriously, beautiful graphics card. I know. I probably wait for an MSI version, because they're usually solid graphics cards at decently cheap prices. I think it'll probably be about 250 because that's what most of the reference, non-reference coolers are, said to come out around that price point. So that's nice. But yes, I've been refreshing overclockers periodically every hour for a while now.
Wow. Yeah, I'm actually debating building another computer, so I might be picking up another graphics card soon.
What's your budget?
For GPU, we're probably looking looking at right around the RX 40, 480 and 1060. Like that's the price range we're talking for GPUs.
But with CPU wise, are you going to get an i5 or are you going to get one of the Pentiums?
I'm gonna do a Skylake i7.
Oh shit! Fair enough.
It's gonna be because what I'm using it for is going to be much more CPU focused than it is GPU.
And I guess you'd want a CPU that's at least comparable to the one that's in your laptop.
Yeah, it is awkward. It is a bit awkward when you've got top end i7 in your laptop and your desktop's running like an i5.
That's why I don't want to buy a laptop currently because I may mobile GPUs and stuff, CPUs and stuff, but if I have a 4770K in my system and then I buy a laptop with even Broadwell, I'd be like, oh no, what am I doing?
But yeah, I was gonna run it for recording and stuff. Have it as like a set box for it.
And like a render box essentially.
Yeah, for rendering, but also for just like encoding video and stuff. Like we're doing for the streaming now, just encoding this. But
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now is CPU bound, whereas I know some of the rendering and stuff and some of the encoding stuff you can have is GPU bound. But yeah, a lot of it's kind of, especially with the software I use, is all CPU focused. So that's why I need the i7.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I hopefully will. I might be producing these videos at some point, but it's just there for bragging rights at this point.
Yeah, I'm actually, random side note, I'm actually going to be upgrading my laptop to 32 gigs of DDR4.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I guess you got to stick 64 on your computer just to be safe.
To be fair, I've honestly debated just not doing that at all, and actually running a hyper-threaded quad-core Xeon part for Skylake.
Ah, yes.
And just running a server platform and doing that.
Well, I saw an interesting, I can't remember who said it, but I saw an interesting kind of, I think it was Linus Tech Tips, yeah, might have been. But I think they were talking about how one of the main reasons why their enthusiast CPUs are so just ridiculously expensive is because otherwise they just completely cannibalize their Xeons.
Yeah, and to be fair, the machine, that's not a straight usage. So I'm also going to use it for virtual machines and stuff. And so, yeah.
Are you thinking of getting a relative 6-core? Because 6-core Broadwell Xeons are only 6,700K prices, really.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to wait and see Skylake Xeons, but we might do. I don't know. I'll have a look around. We'll figure it out.
Well, if you're waiting for Skylake Xeons, why don't you wait for the Octorons?
I'm open to it if the Zen cores can keep up in the server space, then I'm all about that.
I'm pretty confident they could, because the amount of cores that they're just pumping out in general, if Bulldozer had 32 cores, then it would beat most things anyway. So
that's true, but I don't always benefit from a ridiculous amount of cores. I need some relative single core performance in the type of workloads that I'm going to be doing. So
yeah.
And so while having lots of cores will be really nice, and there'll definitely be use cases for that. I think they're going to need to be able to perform comparably on the single core as well, which will be where the kind of big test lies. Because you've always been able to shove, like, since like the dawn of time, 1,000,000 cores onto an Optron, no matter what architecture they're running. The dies are like ridiculously big.
Yeah.
I remember back in like the Q6600 days, and there were like Optrons for like 16 cores, and you can have like 4 on a motherboard. It's like so ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't justify. The only thing I could justify is a graphics card upgrade and maybe some bigger capacity SSDs. Because they are so cheap at the moment. I mean, yeah, of course they're cheaper now than they were before, but when I bought mine, I paid for 512 gigabytes of 2 separate 248. Is it 48? Is it 56? Yeah, 56. 256 gigabyte SSDs. I paid like £200, I believe. And now you could get like a terabyte for about £200. That's painful. But yeah, I wouldn't mind some greater SSD space because I am just and some more RAM. I wouldn't mind more RAM, but my CPU is I am not using it whatsoever. So I'll stick with my 4770K. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to my 480. That'll be great. But yeah, well, I think that's pretty much it for the 480 and 1060.
Yeah, so talk me through this CS:GO thing.
Okay, right. So the reason it really blew up, because I had heard about it beforehand, but the reason it really blew up was because H3H3, Ethan Klein from H3H3, he made a video about the CS:GO gaming scandal, and what it is a guy called T Martin and Tom Syndicate, the two guys, and so essentially T Martin is the one that people are rallying to really get behind, and say fuck you. Is because he made a bunch of videos a while ago about CSGO Lotto. So it's a gambling site. Now, we talked about the class action lawsuit towards Valve for letting their, API or whatever kind of link to all of these gambling sites. And, they're not necessarily, you can link a Steam account to just about anything. So it's not necessarily what we want to go after, but the sites themselves not great. I don't like gambling in the first place, but that's why I don't like the Overwatch loot box system. It's getting really annoying, really annoying. I haven't had a legendary in like 40 levels, but yeah. So the sites themselves. So he made a bunch of videos saying he found this website and he contacted them, and they gave him permission to use all of this stuff and to use the website and to get sponsored, all that stuff, right? And so he went through and he showed him winning a bunch of money like all of these people do, because nobody who does these kind of gambling videos shows them losing too much. The only time you ever see people on YouTube that gamble on CS:GO lose a crap ton is when they're streaming it. Otherwise, it's always a video of I won a Doppler Emerald, or I won 69 Dragon Laws and now I'm a millionaire. It's like, oh, okay, fair enough. So he made a bunch of videos winning money and promoting this website, but it came out a couple of days ago that he actually owns the site. And the reason this is so bad is because he has direct manipulation of the site, meaning that no matter what, he doesn't lose anything. Also, he didn't disclose that in the first place. So he didn't say he owned the website. But the main reason why it's so egregious is because he has control over the bots, over the finances. So he can essentially take funds out of the business, then spend them, put them back in the business, and therefore he's not losing anything whatsoever. It's a risk-free operation. There are no losses, and then he's also promoting the site and getting even more money put into it, therefore gaining money by losing money, or by gaining money at the site anyway. People have come behind him and saying he may be cheating, he may be rigging the system. I doubt that's the case, because come on, he's not losing anything in the first place, so why rig it? You know? He could essentially play on the site for, say, like 48 days straight until he wins massively and then post a YouTube video. He doesn't have to rig it so he gets it that day, because he's not losing anything throughout this entire thing. So he doesn't, there's no risk. So why would he cheat in the first place? Like that is kind of cheating, but I don't think he's necessarily scamming the people on the site that play against him. I think the kind of rules are kind of fair, but the real scumbag thing is that he didn't disclose he owns the website. He is like, just, he said he found this website. He said he asked them, he contacted them, and then got through. Whereas he's the one that he contacted because he fucking owns it. It's a big mess, and he's deleted a bunch of tweets that were like aggressive or passive aggressive, that were apologetic, but then deleted those as well. He made an apology video where he basically said, "I'm sorry that I wasn't transparent. No, I'm sorry that it didn't appear that I was transparent, but I was." And then people went through and said, well, he wasn't, because he changed the descriptions of his YouTube videos. You know, so essentially he lied about that. Essentially he changed all the descriptions of the videos to say what he wanted to say, and then made the video saying that he had it all along, whereas he actively changed it beforehand. Just a bit of a scumbag, really. Tom Syndicate, he was like the vice president. He disclosed that he was sponsored by it and stuff, and he's been laying quite low. He hasn't been making a fool out of himself, so he's not been as targeted. He's still a bit of a scummy, but I think he's more innocent. I don't think he made as many videos. I don't know. People haven't really been covering the Tom Syndicate side of things, but yeah, just a big mess. And CS:GO gambling in the first place, the reason why this is such a big deal is because the sites tell you. It's like a porn site, right? They say you must be 18 to enter this site. Just click on, yeah, I'm 18. There's no checkup. So any, like, a fucking 11-year-old can go on this site, steal his dad's credit card, and then gamble away all of his dad's stuff on virtual skins. On virtual fucking skins, right? And the reason this is so bad is also because they can be traded in for real money. This is real money we're talking about. You put real money in and you can get real money out. One of the big Steam arguments and some of the bit of misinformation is where they say these skins can only be sold on the Steam marketplace, but that simply isn't true. I recently traded all of my skins into OP skins and then cashed out. And I made quite a bit of money out of that. I lost quite a bit, but it was kind of like just putting my money in a safe space and then taking it out later. And I didn't get as much back, but I was playing CS:GO with these skins and I enjoyed my time with them, and now I can take it out at the end of the day and then buy an RX 480. So you can trade these for real money. It's not just the Steam market, which is a bit of the misinformation. Even H3, he kind of said, like, he was showing the Steam marketplace and saying, whoa, this is all this money and stuff, but he didn't specifically note necessarily that you can then properly cash these things out. And yeah, you have to go through a third party, but you can cash these out for real money.
Yeah, there are lots of yeah. I'm an EVE Online player. I have been for a very long time, and that has had an issue in the past where people gambling for real money, betting on like events that are happening, or even like gambling for ships, that kind of thing. Like it happens in like a whole magnitude of games, but it's one of those things that always starts out with getting lots of traction, lots of people enjoying it, and then it just always ends badly. Like,
It's gambling as a whole, really.
yeah, like it just does never end well. Like it's just not good. Like I just don't think it should be a thing in general. Like it just never ends well.
Speaking of things that didn't end well, Evolve. It's gone free to play now. Because
really?
I think that's the way of Battleborn, frankly, because you look at their player base, especially like, now. On the first week, it was a failure, and now it's dead. There's no people playing the game, and I reckon it's probably going to go free to play because Overwatch, after all, is kind of a first-person shooter with the kind of mechanics. It's like a Team Fortress 2 kind of thing, and it may go free to play in like I think it was like 4 years time. Was it like 4 or 5 years time before TF2 went free to play? I think it came out in like 2006, 7, and then it was free to play in 2011 or like late 2010. So it may go free to play later on. I doubt it will because of the system that they've put in place. But Battleborn definitely, I'm like 100% sure in a year or so it's gonna be free to play because it's dead, and that's what happened to Evolve. That's what happened to Evolve. It just dead on arrival. So Evolve is free to play. Yeah. And Pokemon Go is out. And
What's that actually like? Because I kind of want to play that.
well, we can't because we're in the UK and it's not out here, and that brings me great sadness. Like, seriously, like,
Well,
miserable time. Everyone else in the world has it, we don't. But Pokemon Go is essentially walking around, getting hit by traffic while trying to catch shitty Pokemon, and I really, really want to play it. It'll be some exercise. It'll get me out of the house, maybe. But yeah, Pokemon goes out. You go out into your world. You can find things in your house, but they are not as frequent. So you go to specific places, like local landmarks around you will be gyms, or you can go and there's been a lot of the police department in America. I believe, was it America or is it? I think it was Australia because it came out there first. But it was somewhere in the world. A police department was basically saying you do not actually have to go into the police station just to get some fucking Pokeballs. Okay, go elsewhere and get your Pokeballs. A police station is a police station, not a Pokeball dispensary. So yeah, essentially, local landmarks, buildings, places around the place will grant you Pokeballs. You'll have random encounters with Pokemon, and there's some funny stuff happening. Like I saw online, a woman posted that her local gym was a porta potty.
yeah, it just seems like it would be a good time, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
So I really want to play it. It looks fun.
Yeah. So we don't have. I don't believe we have a release date for the UK yet. So that's fun.
I want to get
Also,
on that.
even if we did, the servers wouldn't be up. They're still having trouble since the 7th of proper server problems because, everybody wants to fucking play this game. Otherwise, I think I'll just wrap up on my thoughts of the Overwatch rank system. I've been playing a lot of it. I played it on the first day it came out, and the reason that I must preface this is because on the first day of any rank season, should I say, you get fucked over. In Hearthstone, you get fucked over because there's all of the people who are rank 1 playing at the same time that you were previously rank 15. That's the highest rank I ever got in Hearthstone. It was not great, but I got to rank 15 in Hearthstone, and the beginning of the season, you just get dicked on. You get completely destroyed. In League of Legends, you start in the rank season, you're getting fucking silver. Okay, I got up to gold, but if I played in the first if I played at the first couple days of a new season, I'm going to silver. and I'm going to have to claw my way out of silver. So I made the mistake of, because I was hyped, made the mistake of playing Overwatch Ranked on the first day. The best player out of my entire friends list of level 150s, 200s, stuff like that. Now, level doesn't necessarily mean skill, especially in Overwatch. It means you just played more. But I was playing with some extremely good people. These are people that I really, really respect. They play specific roles. They know what they're doing. We communicate. We played well. And I won 8 out of 10 qualifying games. And I got rank 50. And that's nothing to laugh about as of that day, because the best person out of my entire friends list got ranked 51. I was the second best on my friends list. I was very proud of that, very happy. I was enjoying myself. We played a bunch. I went down to rank 47, and then I clawed my way back up to 49, and I've been there since launch of Ranked. I've been playing around my skill level, right? I then queued with a guy a couple of days ago, about a week after it came out. He had not played Ranked. He won 8 out of 10, the same amount as me, and he got placed rank 59. 59, that's 8 levels higher than me. That's odd. Then we picked up a random in one of the games, like the last game that he played to rank, to get his rank 59. We got a random, we played with him, and I played with him until he got his rank. He won 6 out of 10, and he got rank 56. Now, I can slightly attribute this to the influx of people on the first day and the balancing of ranks. So you get a slightly lower rank because there's so many people. That's usually what happens anyway. As well as the fact that on release, the King of the Hill maps were bugged. You wouldn't get any XP from it. You wouldn't lose any, you wouldn't gain any. It'd be very marginal. Like, the bar would move like half an inch. It was ridiculous. And I played a lot of King of the Hill. It was fixed a couple of days afterwards, and that's why I clawed my way back up to 49, because I went down considerably to 47. And that was not entirely, but partially the fault of the King of the Hill being kind of bugged. We did just lose a lot of games also. But the King of the Hill was screwed up. So no matter how much we lost, we'd never be able to regain our ranks, no matter how much we won. And it took me a 5-game win streak, then a loss, then a 4-game win streak to get back up to 49. Simply because King of the Hill was bugged. Now, because people are coming in afterwards, after King of the Hill is fixed, and after there's a lot less people playing Ranked, seriously, there are, like, most of the people that I played with at the beginning have stopped playing. There's a lot less people playing Ranked. Now they're getting ridiculous ranks, like ranks that people that got 10 out of 10 games didn't even get. I watched a guy streaming his placement games, and that was a day after release, and he got 9 out of 10 and got placed 56. The rank system's kind of fucked up. And by kind of fucked up, I mean it's completely broken and doesn't work whatsoever. Also, the problem with sudden death. They're tweaking the times a lot. Season 1 is a mess. It's a shame, but that's the honest truth. Overwatch Ranked is just not really worth playing if you super care about your rank. And I know I just went on like a fucking 10-minute rant about my rank in Overwatch, but recently I've started to just have fun with it. I enjoy the rank system now solely for the communication that we get. Because in quick play, there isn't any. There just isn't. Nobody has a microphone. Nobody wants to talk to you. There's Game of Thrones spoilers. It's awful. I mean, there was before, I finished the season, but anyway. Yeah, so I honestly just prefer Ranked for the teamwork and for the communication now. And I've tried and sort of failed to, just kind of leave my rank behind, because I understand that the rank system at the moment is fundamentally broken. And that's the same thing that I did with CSGO. At the beginning, I was really fucking annoyed. Like when he got ranked, 59, really fucking annoyed. And when I got deranked to fucking Nova 2, really, really annoyed in CSGO. But after a while, it just kind of balances out, and you just got to learn to have fun and play where you are. Besides, the people that are super high ranks now aren't as good of players that I were playing with before or against. So I'm actually having an easier time in a higher skill bracket. Yeah, weird.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But yeah, last topic on the related to Overwatch, hacking. They crack down a lot on the hackers, banning a lot of them, banning multiple accounts that they make, and now they're going after the hack makers. So they're going after Bossland Studios because they made a lot of hacks for World of Warcraft, for Heroes of the Storm, for StarCraft. They lost a lawsuit against them in Germany, but they're now doing one in California, and they're claiming a bunch of stuff like copyright infringement and money loss and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. Curious to know how that lawsuit will go. Because I don't know where I'd sit on it. Like, I don't know. Obviously maybe they have lost revenue because of it, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
If anything, it would be loot box revenue because the people bought the game then got banned.
Yeah.
They didn't because a lot of us, not me, apart from at the very beginning, I bought a few cases, but I refuse at this point. It's very, very tempting, but it is essentially gambling. It's very, very tempting because I've gone 40 levels without any legendaries, and honestly, like, I got extremely lucky at the beginning. I got like a legendary for pretty much everybody that I liked playing. So I was extremely lucky and extremely chuffed, but now I'm just kind of annoyed because I'm just not getting anything. But I don't know, yeah, so the hackers and stuff, because a lot of companies will just ban. They won't go after the hack makers. So I think it's nice to see that they're that willing to have such a balanced community. But if they want to have such a balanced community, it'd be nice if they sorted out their fucking rank system first.
Yeah. It's difficult because you've got, especially with the hacks, you've got to find the line because, at what point does it stop becoming just a cheat for a game, which have existed since like the dawn of time, and start becoming a hack that could potentially impact revenue, and where it's difficult to see where the line is drawn.
Yes, yeah. That's why copyright infringement, I kind of understand, is a bit of an odd one because they created a UI that directly kind of attributed to the game and the characters and stuff like that. So that's how they're claiming copyright infringement. A bunch of the stuff that they're claiming is just a bit odd, and I don't know how that will stand up. And last time, I mean, they lost, and I don't know if that was just because of the rules in Germany and all that stuff, but yeah, with video games and all that stuff, people really don't understand. So I don't know if Blizzard will win.
Yeah. I mean, what you'll find is also when companies are going at another company for something, what they'll do is they'll find a couple of main points that they're really kind of gunning for, but then they'll throw like loads of other things in there as well. Like, maybe they're going after them for just a copyright infringement thing, but they throw like the other potential things that they could get through on because they only need to get through on one to win the lawsuit, and so
that's a good point.
It's more for them to defend against.
Diversify, essentially.
Yeah, and so that's really commonplace. So, but it'll be interesting. I'm interested to follow that just to see where it goes because I mean it's one of those lawsuits that actually while it kind of seems insignificant and it kind of is, it's one of those that kind of while this is very new territory and not a lot of people are doing it, it could,
great impact.
yeah, it could well pave the way for more companies to see opportunities. And so,
I mean, Valve should, if this does do that, then if it does go through and they do win, then Valve should have done this for every single one of their games, essentially. For years now, we've had a horrible hacking community, and they've had a good stance on banning players and letting the community help and stuff. But it's so rampant at this point that if Blizzard get this lawsuit through, hopefully Valve will follow suit. And if a mammoth company like Valve gets behind it, then we may hopefully see a sharp decline in hacking.
yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. It's one to watch.
All right, well, I think that's about it.
Yep, I think we're about done.
So, yeah, I'm at Alkarius Endgame on Twitter. That's about it.
And I am now all of the places, like just all of them. I'm everywhere now. Did I mention I'm on Tumblr?
Yeah,
It
you
took me a while.
mentioned.
I'm on Instagram. It took me a while to figure out what an Instagram was, but I'm on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was on Instagram, I'd basically just take 1,000 pictures of my computer, so.
Huh. I just took a picture of just random stuff.